Okay, so I pulled this out of a single 12-inch pot last week, and I just stood there for a second, because this wasn't some massive raised bed. This wasn't a greenhouse. This was a plastic pot I got from a dollar store, sitting on a concrete patio, and it just gave me this. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, because honestly, the context matters. But I will tell you this. Most of the plants people grow in containers, they're the wrong ones. Not because those plants are bad, but because some plants are just built different for pots, like they were practically designed for it. And once I figured that out, everything changed. So today we're going through 15 vegetables and herbs that actually perform in containers, ranked from impressive to almost ridiculous. And yeah, by the end, you'll probably want to rethink your whole setup. If you want more of this kind of stuff, you can subscribe. I drop new gardening content pretty regularly. Let's get into it. Number 15, cilantro. Starting here because cilantro is one of those plants most people completely give up on. It bolts too fast. Yeah, it does. But here's the thing. That's actually useful. When cilantro bolts and goes to seed, those seeds are coriander. So one plant gives you leaves for cooking, flowers that attract beneficial insects, and then a full spice you can harvest and dry. A single 8-inch pot can cycle through 2 or 3 rounds of this if you succession sow, which just means dropping a few seeds every couple of weeks. Smells incredible, by the way. Every time you brush past it, you get this sharp, citrusy punch. Not everyone loves it raw, but it's impossible to ignore. Number 14. Dill. Same deal as cilantro, triple-purpose plant. Leaves for cooking fresh, flowers for pickling, seeds for seasoning. Dill grows faster than most people expect in a container. A 10-inch pot, decent sun, decent water, and this thing shoots up. It gets tall and feathery, almost looks decorative, honestly. I didn't even use it for cooking at first. I just had it because it draws in predatory wasps and hoverflies that take care of pests on my other plants. So it's basically a security guard, a very fragrant security guard. Number 13, purslane. Okay, most people have pulled this out of their garden as a weed. I did for years. Turns out, purslane is edible. And not just edible, it's one of the highest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids on Earth. I didn't believe that when I first read it. Looked it up 3 times. It grows absolutely everywhere. It doesn't need much, and in a container, it actually stays manageable instead of taking over your whole yard. The leaves are thick and a little watery, almost like a succulent, slightly tangy. Goes well in salads or stir-fried with garlic. I thought this was nonsense when someone first told me, not gonna lie, but it's genuinely worth growing. Number 12, oregano. Here's one that doesn't get enough credit. Oregano in a container becomes this dense, bushy, woody little shrub, and the more you harvest it, like aggressively cut it back, the more it grows. Most people clip a few leaves and leave it alone. That's the wrong move. You want to cut it hard, regularly. After a few weeks of that, it thickens up and starts producing way more. It's also drought tolerant, so on those weeks where you forget to water, oregano just shrugs. It's been used since ancient Greece. Supposedly, Roman soldiers carried it into battle. Not sure what the plan was there, but it's a tough plant. Number 11, thyme. Similar vibe to oregano, woody, perennial in mild climates, and surprisingly high yield for its size. What I like about thyme in pots is that it spills over the edges a little. Looks good, takes up no extra space, and the harvest per square inch is actually remarkable. One 6-inch pot of thyme will give you more than you can use in a month of cooking if you're harvesting correctly. The smell when it's in full sun is almost overwhelming, in a good way, like a Mediterranean hillside. If that sounds dramatic, go smell a thyme plant in July and get back to me. Number 10. Sorrel. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Sorrel is a perennial, meaning once you plant it, it comes back every year. In a container, that's a massive deal because you're not replanting from scratch every season. The leaves have this sharp, lemony, almost sour flavor. It's popular in French cooking, but a lot of North American gardeners have never even tried it. Cut it back, it regrows. Cut it again,
regrows. You can harvest the same plant dozens of times over multiple seasons. Have you ever tried sorrel? Genuinely curious. Drop it in the comments. Number 9. Chives. Chives do something that took me a while to notice. They get more productive as they age. Most container plants slow down over time. Chives kind of do the opposite. The clump expands, gets thicker, and produces more and more as the years go on. You can divide them every couple of years, repot them, and suddenly you have twice as many plants from one original pot. The flowers are also edible and honestly beautiful, purple little pom-poms that taste mildly oniony. I've thrown them on scrambled eggs and felt weirdly fancy about it.
Number 8. Perpetual spinach. This is not actually spinach. That's the first thing I'll say. It's a type of chard, but it behaves differently. Real spinach bolts quickly in heat and you lose the harvest. Perpetual spinach just doesn't. It keeps going all season, handles heat and cold better, and regrows rapidly after cutting. The leaves are darker, thicker, slightly more robust in texture than regular spinach. You pick the outer leaves and the center keeps producing. A 12-inch pot of this will give you multiple harvests per week through most of the growing season. The yield per container is legitimately surprising. Number 7. Watercress. Watercress is a nutrient powerhouse, and it grows fast, like uncomfortably fast sometimes. I checked on mine after a week and did a genuine double take. In a container, you do need to keep it consistently moist. It naturally grows near water, so dry soil slows it down. But if you're watering regularly anyway, this is one of the fastest growing edible plants you can keep in a pot. It has a peppery, slightly sharp flavor. Great raw, great in soup. Pound for pound, the nutrient density is through the roof. High in vitamin C, K, and a bunch of other things. Number 6. Lemon balm. Okay, lemon balm. This is a weird one. It's in the mint family, which means in the ground, absolute chaos. It spreads everywhere and becomes a problem fast. But in a container, that invasive nature works in your favor. It fills the pot, produces constantly, and you can harvest handfuls at a time without making a dent. The smell is incredible. Fresh, citrusy, almost like lemon candy. Used for tea, for calming, for flavoring. It attracts pollinators like crazy. Then something weird happened when I cut mine back hard one summer. Instead of looking depleted, it came back double the size 2 weeks later. I didn't expect that. Number 5, turmeric. This surprised me more than almost anything on this list. Turmeric looks unassuming up top. Big tropical leaves, kind of decorative. But what's happening underground is a different story. A single pot of turmeric can produce a pound or more of fresh rhizomes at harvest time. Most people don't even know you can grow it at home. It takes a full season. You plant the rhizome in spring and pull it in fall, but the payoff is real. Fresh turmeric is completely different from powder. More vibrant in color, more intense flavor, almost floral. And it stains everything orange, which I learned the hard way. Fair warning. Number 4, ginger. Same idea as turmeric. Rhizome plant, looks tropical, hides a big harvest underground. Ginger's a little more forgiving with moisture and light. It'll actually do okay in partial shade, which is rare for a productive edible plant. One medium rhizome planted in a 15-gallon pot will multiply significantly by fall. And fresh ginger, there's no comparison to store-bought. More intense, more complex, slightly spicy sweet. Queen Elizabeth I supposedly had gingerbread figures shaped like her guests. What that has to do with container gardening, I'm not entirely sure, but now you know. Number 3, amaranth. Not enough people grow amaranth, I'll just say it. The Aztecs grew it as a staple crop. It was so important to their culture that Spanish conquistadors banned it at one point to try to undermine their food supply. That's how valuable it was. In a container, amaranth gives you edible leaves throughout the season, which taste similar to spinach, and seed heads at the end of the season that are packed with protein. It tolerates heat like almost nothing else. When other container plants are wilting in mid-summer, amaranth is thriving. The seed heads turn deep red and purple as they mature. Honestly beautiful. practically a houseplant and a food source in one. Number 2, Jerusalem artichokes. Okay, this is the plant I was holding at the beginning of this video. Jerusalem artichokes, which are not from Jerusalem and are not artichokes, are sunflower relatives that grow underground tubers, and the yield from a single container is almost unfair. One plant in a 15-gallon pot produced more than I could eat. The tubers multiply underground all season, and when you dig them up in fall, there's just a lot, more than you expect, every time. They taste nutty, slightly sweet, a little like a water chestnut. Roasted with olive oil and salt, genuinely one of the best vegetables I've eaten. The only thing I warn you about, they can cause some digestive discomfort if you eat too many. Start small, that's all I'll say. Number 1, mint. And here we are, mint. The answer is mint. I know some of you are rolling your eyes, but hear me out, because the reason mint wins this list isn't about flavor or culinary use. It's about pure, unrelenting production. Mint in a container is one of the most productive plants per square inch of any edible you can grow, period. It grows in almost any light, comes back every year, spreads aggressively within the container, which means more and more plant mass every season. You can harvest it repeatedly, hard, and it regrows within days. Different varieties give you completely different flavors too. Spearmint, peppermint, chocolate mint, apple mint. Each one has its own use. I've got 4 containers of different mints on my patio right now, and I haven't bought a single herb tea in 2 years. The yield from one 12-inch pot of mint over a single season is genuinely difficult to calculate because it just doesn't stop.
So what's the actual lesson here? It's not about growing the most impressive plant. It's about matching the plant to the container. These 15 plants aren't special because they're exotic or expensive or hard to find. They're special because they behave differently in pots. They produce more, they recover faster, they keep going when other plants give up. And once you stop filling containers with whatever seeds are on the shelf at the garden center and start thinking about yield per pot, the whole thing starts to make sense. That Jerusalem artichoke I was holding? I planted one small tuber in a 15-gallon pot in late April, pulled it all in October. One tuber, one pot, months of food. That's what this whole thing is about. If you want to see exactly how I set up those containers, soil mix, pot depth, watering schedule, I've got a video on that too. It's linked right here. Go watch that next.